All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the call, everybody. My name is Tim Damron. I'm with the House of Yah Community Outreach. We are a full-service nonprofit. We are here to serve the public, and we've been doing so. We're going into our 10th year. We're actually going into our 10th year, and I'm totally stoked to be a part of that, man. And tonight, we've got a call. It's going to be a wonderful call. We're waiting on Natasha and some of the other folks to come in on the call tonight, but they're going to be coming in, man, and we're going to be covering some heavy stuff tonight. If you guys have not been to our webpage yet, houseofyahcommunityoutreach.com, go to our webpage. Lots of updates. Lots of things have changed. And in a good way. For the first time ever, we got a family law class workshop. How do you get ready for this stuff? I'm going to show you how this whole thing works. So when you know how this thing works, you know exactly what you need to do if you're in there, or more importantly, if your friends are in there, you know? And this is what we got to do. We got to help each other out. So welcome to the call, everybody. We've got, about 7 minutes. And I just want to welcome all of you guys to the call. I'm citing the fair use rule tonight. We're highlighting the Black Crows tonight. Going to be listening to some of their music tonight. And when you cite the fair use rule, it means you get to use it. So there'll be no crying tonight. Just sit back and enjoy the music, man. Just hang in there, everybody. We're going to get started here. 7, 5, 4, 3, 4 minutes or so. Not too much longer. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. So come on off your rooftop. So come on down to the street. Said I've got something to tell you. Your secrets I will keep. Tell me why haven't you been crying? Why won't you? Welcome to the call, everybody. We're going to get started here in just a little bit. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all, citing the fair use rule tonight. And I just want to welcome all of you guys to the call tonight. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. Tonight, we're going to be covering some good stuff tonight. We're going to be talking about, hopefully you guys can hear me okay. We're going to be talking about systems. We're going to be talking about lots of really cool stuff. We've got lots of changes going on our webpage, and I'm really excited about it. If you guys haven't been to our webpage, please go. We're walking into something we've never done before. We have actually a family law workshop, travel and driving family and law workshop, all in one. We're talking about administrative claims. I'm talking about real understanding so that you understand these courts, you understand what they're doing. And I'm not talking about from any other perspective other than theirs. Yeah. We're going to be talking about that tonight. We're going to be talking about the benefits of that tonight. I'm so excited. So glad you guys are here tonight. Please like and share. And we should get started here in just a couple of minutes. A lot of you guys know that I'm a musician or a retired musician, and did a little Black Crows tonight, but yeah, I think I'm gonna put one of my songs on. We'll get started here in just a few minutes, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Hope you find what you're looking for, and all comes running down. Hope you find it painted on your black window, your lips or your lover's brown. Cause he dies in the cold when the clouds start to roll. Is it then that your soul starts to bleed? Have you ever seen a president killed your mother child? Or a man that crashed your sister's plane, saying he was sent from God, cause she died in your arms. In the dark, is it this, is it that your soul starts to bleed? Cause it ain't fair to say, tracks are not the same. God, if you can hear me, crash this train. God, if you can hear me, rest is straight. Now a note to the president and the government and judges of this place. We're still waiting for you to bring our troops home and clean up that mess you made. Because it smells of money and blood and oil across the Iraq land. It's so easy to blind us with your united we stand. No, it ain't hard to see. This country isn't free. God, if you can hear me, crash this train. God, if you can hear me, rest this train.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the call. I am so glad all of you guys are here. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Tonight, we're going to be having a wonderful call. This is something that we do on a regular, and we do this every Monday night at 6 p.m. And just like clockwork, my lovely host is always here, just perfectly at 6 p.m. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. More importantly, Natasha's here too. You know, that just makes it better. And anyway, welcome everybody to the call. Tonight, we're going to be covering some really good stuff. We've done changes. Now, some of you guys can see this, some of you guys can't. Some of you guys that are here on the call, you can actually see that I actually have our webpage up. We have something new, and we've never done this before. And we're going to talk a little bit about this tonight. And our right to travel class, very good class, talks a lot about tickets, talks a lot about having to deal with police officers and court officials and law officials. And then we even have a little section in there where we talk about, cases and how to win and this and this and this. And I basically go through my own cases. So it's not legal advice. Absolutely not. It's my personal experience. It's my story. So this is something that we're allowed to talk about. Now, if it happens to somebody might construe it as legal advice, well, then that's just their mistake, because it's certainly not legal advice. It's my story. And so along with that, I also talk a little bit more. And I'm going to tell you, I've been hit pretty hard. Family court, tough deal. Nobody comes out of family court going, woohoo. I mean, well, maybe some people do, but most people don't. Most people come out of family court feeling like they got ripped off. Jerry Reed did a song and he said, yeah, I don't know, some of you guys might know who Jerry Reed is. If you do, look him up. He's pretty good. But he says he did a song about, divorce. And he says that, his wife got 50%, but her 50% was bigger than his 50%. Isn't that the truth? And it works both ways. But in this class, I've decided to combine some of the law ethics and things going on, because you're in the same court. And if you read this here, and I'll read it to you guys, it just says, I'm not an attorney, but I bring over 30 years of experience in court-related matters, from tragic from tragic family law and beyond. At age 19, I took an appeal all the way to the United States Supreme Court in Washington, D.C., after the government had created federal jurisdiction where there wouldn't have been otherwise. This was an entrapment case. I experienced this when I was 19. And I took this thing all the way to the Supreme Court, thinking that we had justice. It's just them. It's just us. And you ain't us. And I learned this very quickly. As a matter of fact, I waited all this time to get my case to the Supreme Court. And you know what I found out? They don't hear everybody's cases. You know, they didn't teach us that in government class, did they? No, they didn't teach us that. But they certainly don't hear cases when it involves cops that are setting up 19-year-old kids to do stupid stuff. And that's exactly what happened here. Anyway, in my 20s, I experienced my first round with the Bexar County Family Courts. And they profited through my misery and many other people's misery through Title 4D funding. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. And they tried to force me to sign away my rights to my children because this is how they really get paid. If they can get somebody to sign their rights away, that's a huge payday. Title 4D. They fill out some GSA forms and they get paid. Okay. So this is the stuff that we're going to be talking about. I'm going to talk about what happened in my 40s. I'm 53 now. And in my 40s, I've filed so far in the Texas Western District, the Eastern District, the Fifth Circuit Court, Bexar County, Bandera, Bernalillo County, New Mexico, all over New Mexico, actually. I could go into more, and so many other cases. I have a ton of experience. And I'm the guy that's always ready to stand up because that's how you get into wrecks like this. Okay. When you're ready to stand up and you're not ready to compromise, because I'm not that guy, you're going to walk through this fire. And you know what? I don't regret any of it. None of it. But before we get started and before we go any further, we're going to talk a little bit more about some other stuff too. Some really cool stuff I actually filed today with Houston County. It's going to be very good. But before I get into all that, Natasha, I'm going to hand it over to you. Thank you so much for being here. You look wonderful tonight. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I just want to make sure that you can actually hear me because I got my new computer set up. So we're good?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, good. But I'd like to thank everybody here for tonight for joining us. Today is Monday, November the 10th, 2025. Before we get started, I want to let everybody know that this is for entertainment purposes only. We're not here, we're not attorneys. We do not provide any legal advice. We do not promote or endorse the use of any drugs or alcohol. We're just here to commit to maintain a respectful and inclusive place. Our intentions are never to hurt or belittle or demeanor anybody and their feelings or anything like that. But if you do have any questions pertaining to the freedom movement or anything that Tim has done, we'd like to try to answer your questions to the best of our ability.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I'm just flipping through the page because I mean, you should go back. You should go and look through it. I mean, everything's redone. So last week we talked a little bit about, well, this the workshop part is, but I mean, I wish I was like this computer genius that could go, oh, poof, and it's all magical and everything's cool again. And I'm just not that good, but I'm good enough to do this part. Okay. I mean, you just can't be good at everything. I mean, you just have to be. You have to, my son used to tell me, well, Dad, you have to suck at something. Come on. He used to tell me that. It's really funny. He doesn't tell me that anymore. He's actually pretty smart. But anyway, so I went into our web page here, and it's been a while since we've updated it. Oops. But it's just because we just don't have a big thing. But tomorrow night or tomorrow morning, actually, we have a firm mailing class that's going to be available. And if you guys want to join that class, let me know. I want to go through kind of some of the basics on how these things work, really. So what we've got coming up Wednesday, it's a 2-hour class, and it's right here on the page here. It's a firm mailing class. This is very important. Tonight, I'm going to go through a motion that I filed tonight, and we're going to talk about it tonight, just briefly. And I'm going to show you the power of using this firm mailing book. A lot of people in this movement talk about, Natasha, they're always talking about where I'm in common law. You ever notice those people when they're driving? they get pulled over. Hey, sir, were you speeding? No, I was driving in common law. There's no way I could be speeding because he's back there in the back. Look, common law right back there. You ever know? It's kind of like they're waiting for somebody to jump out of the back to go woo woo and like scare the cop away or something, but it just doesn't ever happen. But
No, yeah, it never made sense to me of like, what are you trying to do and what proof do you have, of common law? Okay.
but the way they announce it like it's a talent show or something. Like common law in the backseat, center stage number one. You know what I mean? It's like we're caught now. Get up here. Hurry up. No, he was talking a second ago. Really, careful with that one. That'll get you in trouble. But you know, people don't really understand common law because they don't understand equity. I mean, there's a lot of people in this movement that are saying, "Oh, we need to get back to the common law, and we need to do this, and we need to do that," but they really don't even know what the common law is. But they think, and I think that they think this is just my opinion, but I think what they think is that it's going to be simpler and easier to manage. No, the grass is not greener on the other side. Let me tell you, Gilligan and everybody else that was stuck out on the island. Remember, we used to watch that show. You probably did. We used to watch Gilligan's Island when we were a kid. It was about these people that got marooned on an island. It was a ridiculous comedy, but they stayed out there for a long time. Not because the show was good, because the show was good, but they stayed out there and they never got like it took forever for those poor people to get rescued. But in the meantime, they didn't have to deal with anything. The millionaires were there. Remember was it I keep wanting to the song starts playing through my head and it starts announcing the character. So I'm trying not to start, through. But anyway, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
But and you're right. What we saw in that show, and those of you guys that are old enough to remember that show, good for you. And if you still can, even better. But those of you guys that don't know what I'm talking about, just watch an old rerun or something, and you're gonna see, especially you freedom movement guys, you guys that are waking up and you're, running into David Strait, and you're like, oh, we feel empowered now. All right, well, hold what you got. Take that idea and go shop it and look at the guys from Gilligan's Island. You don't think they didn't have problems? They had people with plates in their mouths chasing him around the island with big old sticks and all kinds of stuff. And and that was just the stuff they made up. So imagine the stuff they don't make up. Imagine the stuff that really happened out there. See, we're going to trade one set of evils for another. So what I see in this movement, Natasha, is people getting you're like, everybody knows you're in a cage, right? I mean, we know, this is like the Truman Show. We know, we get it. But we have a lot of people that are trying to scare people from this side of the cage to the other side of the cage and completely abandon this, but then do this. And that just doesn't work. It doesn't work. It didn't even work on TV. It's not going to work for you guys either. It's not. And, when I woke up in 2015, I saw two kinds of people in this movement. The people that were waking up looking for real honest to God truth. And then the other ones that wanted to find truth, but really they wanted to just to get away with not having insurance or not paying their bills anymore or something like that. And I mean, hey, it's attractive. I'd love to get away with it too. I wish I could just mail little coupons in and put my red little thumbprint on something and send it off and stuff would get paid. But that's just not the case. Even though you have a lot of people out here that are getting people to go do stupid stuff like that, that's just not the case. And it's not how it works. This firm mailing class, it's powerful. And here's why it's so powerful. Everybody remembers the show Storage Wars, right? Remember the show Storage Wars? Mm-hmm. Think about all the cool stuff everybody got. Remember? All the really expensive stuff people got, look at all the people that claim to have gotten rich from that show, from going in and buying those storage lockers. Did you know that not one judge was involved, not one court was involved with the release of that property? What? You mean, because the first thing we think of is, well, we got to hire a lawyer. Yep, we got to go down to court. We got to go ask them. No, we don't. We don't have to do that at all. If you understand common law, if you understand equity, You don't have to do that at all. What you'll find is the two jurisdictions run parallel. They literally do, Natasha. They run parallel and they almost look just like each other, but they're not. The end result is the same. So remember, I said we would do real results, right? Well, this firm mailing book, this is how they did it. You guys want to know how they took all those people's property? Because that's what happened. They used this. What is this? This is a ledger. This is you capturing your equity. I'm sorry. It's you capturing your performance. Okay. And when you're able to capture your performance, then you can monetize it. You can do a lot of things with it when you start capturing your performance, but you have to start somewhere. And unless you want to go broke trying to sue people, calling and begging these lawyers on the phone to come and help you every time something blows up. And I'm talking to you guys in family court. I'm talking to you men in family court, more specifically. I know what it's like to be a man. I know what it's like to be, I'm sorry. I know what it's like to be a man. Of course I do. But I know what it's like to be a man and trying to call and get help when you're going through a divorce. Because last year I went through one. And every attorney I called told me to grab my ankles pretty much. Well, that's just the way it is. It's not the way it is. But it's because people don't understand this. They don't understand what these things do. They don't understand these tools. And once upon, and they're certainly out there, and they've been out there for a long time. But we've been dumbed down for so long, Natasha, that we don't know how to use this stuff. So then we have to go get your cereal boxes with all your receipts and go run to your attorney, your CPA, or go run to somebody and ask them to help you. Or pay them to help you. Forget asking them. You got to pay them. Huh? And I mean, and one of the reasons we don't give legal advice is because it's useless. Did you hear what I said? Okay. If it's not useless, Natasha, what was that? What the last time that you paid for legal advice, what did you walk out with?
Nothing.
Maybe a business card at best, right?
Oh, well, maybe.
What's the average trip to like sit down and tell them your story and get some legal advice? What was it? What is one of those costs? What is it usually between? I'd say between about $200 and $500. Or I don't know. I had one lawyer that he wanted $750 for an hour.
Wow.
$750 for an hour. I laughed. I dropped the phone receiver. I was laughing so hard. I was like, "You've got to be kidding me. What in the HELL could you possibly say that would be worth $750 in an hour?" Because if that's the case, this guy's going to put all the massage parlors out of business. You would think, right? But these people have a license, and they have a license to take your money. They have a license to hold you hostage with a little bit of legalese. And that's exactly what they're going to do. So this firm mailing book workshop, very important. Okay. If you're in family court, stop filing your stuff down there. Stop walking down there. Stop going into their jurisdiction and filing paperwork there. Because every time you do it, there's always someone there to help you, right? Right? Have you ever noticed that when you go into courthouse, there's always did you have any questions? There's always somebody there to help you. And they're really there to help themselves. You need to figure out that you need to remember, you guys, that these courthouses are banks. They are. We're going to talk about administrative claims. What happens when a judge does something that's inappropriate? What do you do? How do you deal with them? What do you do when your court case is so out of control in family court that nobody's listening to you? You got 25, 30 motions, 15, 2, 5, 6. I don't care how many it is. But if they're not answering you, they're depriving you of due process. I talked to a student today, and she's in a she had a landlord that was suing her with no contract. Moron. And so they took her into mediation. Well, she came down and she drafted up a motion to dismiss. I looked at it, looked pretty good. I sent it out to our legal team. I had them redraft it, refresh it, and they ran it through some stuff. I don't know. And we sent it back to her, and she fought, and it was so good. The motion to dismiss was so good. I mean, I wish I could had time to go into the details, but it was so good that they were like, "Well, we're going to do that after mediation. We don't want to do those now. That's a breach of rights. That's a breach of due process. This is sorry about that. That's a breach of due process, and you have protection for that. The days of getting bullied in these courtrooms needs to stop. And I invite you guys, learn who you are in these processes. And if you do, put on the war paint, but never lie. Always tell the truth. And if you can do that, you're going to walk out of your court case a winner. Even if they strike you out, even if the judge says, you know what, I don't care what you say, I don't believe what you say, I don't care what they say. If your performance is captured in equity and you've done it properly, you're going to win. And that's a bunch of smoke. I'm going to show you how to cut through all that stuff. It's kind of what we do in this class. It's a very good class. Anyway, so I'm really excited about this class. This class is it's going to be coming up Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. And it's going to be a 2-hour class. We're going to go through the firm mailing book. It's very inexpensive. It's $125. All benefits, all proceeds benefit the House of Yah community outreach, and it helps us do the things that we're doing. We've got a prison ministry that we're doing too, and we're helping folks get reacclimated. And it's hard, but we're helping them, and we're sending aid. Juan is up in Albuquerque right now, and he's heading a big part of the ministry up there, and totally took all kinds of food, all kinds of everything, down to the halfway house and to one of our students that got out of prison. So, and I've been ministering and praying with Jason since, for 8 years now, since he went in actually. And you know what? He's come out. He's a decent young man, and he's going to make it. He's really going to make it. But we got to give him that help, and that's what we do here. So we help our veterans. We help just about anybody we can. But that's where my heart is. Anyway, another thing I wanted to go into also, go into the webpage. This thing is so cool. It's going to show you the workshop overview. We've got a couple of different ways that we do things on the classes now. So if you'll notice, it says right here on the trust class, it says to see the fee schedule. Okay. Let's go down here and let's look at the fee schedule. And my screen moves a little faster than y'all's, but anyway. All right. So another class that we have that's also very popular is this debt, equity, and foreclosure class. That class is coming up on November 25th and 26th. That's going to be a Tuesday, Wednesday, right before Thanksgiving. And it's going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 o'clock. So this will be like an afternoon. So those of you guys that are playing hooky from work and you want to get into this debt and foreclosure class, this is a 2-day class. I'm going to show you how I foreclosed on my lender and I took my car from him. Not once, twice. I'm going to show you that they took me to court. They tried to take it from me. They tried to take it back and they still lost. I'm going to show you how we won. And how did I win? Equity. Knowing where I am in the process, knowing how to operate as an administrator. This is very important. This is a wonderful class. Really, really powerful. Actually, one of my favorite classes to teach. It really is. Because if you've got credit stuff you need to clean up, if you got lawsuits to deal with, any stuff like that, man, this is definitely your class. You're going to get templates. You're going to get all kinds of stuff, man. Everything that I generated to use to do what I needed to do, I'm giving it to you. You guys are going to get it too. Not only that, but if you guys need help after you take the classes, if you need help before you take the classes, just call me. call my office, 210-605-0144. Schedule an appointment with me. And you know what? We'll figure it out. If you need prayer, that's a good reason too. Call us anytime. We're happy to do it. We've got a debt equity and discharge class coming up on December the 3rd. Really powerful stuff this year. This year, we're going to be talking about monetizing notes, monetizing your, actually capturing your performance, getting those security agreements monetized. Did you know you could do that? Did you know you could get the note back? We're going to be talking about that. And we're going to talk about how it's funded. All this cool stuff is going on. Now, sorry, I'm a little ADHD, so I get distracted easily. But here's the fee schedule. This is the new fee schedule. This is how everything's going to go from now on. There's no hype, just law, just results. This is your fee schedule and payment options. Basically, pretty much all the classes are $475 unless you say otherwise. Okay. Now, some of you guys have very specific stuff going on. And you know, those of you guys that are setting up trusts, I have people that set up trusts not only for themselves, but they set them up for people that they're taking care of. So if you have a special needs adult, if you have mom and you're taking care of mom and you're paying all this stuff out of pocket, I'm going to show you how to recoup some of that. I'm going to show you how to get some of that back. So the way to do this is this. So some of you guys that want to do a private one-on-one class, nobody else is in the class, just you and me, we knock it down and we just walk that walk together. You know what? I've never offered this before, but I'm going to do it now. That private class is only $750. So if you want to do any of the classes except for the firm mailing class, that's the only class I don't do private. That's kind of it's an easy class. That's why I don't do it. It's only a 2-hour class. But the rest of them, if you want them private, they're $750 each. Okay. And this will include the templates, the class recordings, and more importantly, any of the stuff, any of the templates that are coming to you for your state and county, they will be generated for your jurisdiction, for your state. So you're not going to have to go in and go like we used to have to do that. We don't do that anymore. We have AI now, and we have a wonderful legal team, so we can drop it into them and they'll whip us out a new trust to get it right to you. This includes your UCC paperwork too, because it's a UCC and trust class. So it includes that too. We're going to put your state laws all in there, which we haven't been able to do before, but now we're doing it. So this is something we could do. Now, if there is a scheduled class, this means that there's already a scheduled class and the person in that class doesn't mind if anybody joins. Now, I have a limit, five students per class. We're not doing any more classes bigger than 5 students, because if I got to do trust for 5 different states, that's enough. I don't want to do anymore. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. So we want to keep them small. We want to keep them simple, but I want to make sure that these are very specific for what you're trying to do. Okay. I don't want any of my students to get lost in the back of the class. I want you guys in the front row. I want you, okay, how does this work? Start placing this stuff around. Okay. Now, some of my students like to come back and take the classes again. I've had people do it. Like Sean Gray was on the call, and he got served with a lawsuit, which, by the way, that one's about to go away. But anyway, he got served with a lawsuit last year or early this year, and he needed to take a refresher. So those of you guys that want to do that, or if maybe funds are tight, okay, maybe you just don't have a lot of funds, okay, and you know what, this can make it affordable for anybody. So if you want to do that and you want to step in and take the class, this returning students thing here is not just for returning students. It's for people that are on a budget too. I realize not everybody can, come up with $750. I get it. I totally understand that. So if you guys want to come and take the class, participate in the class. The only thing is it's very bare bones. You won't get a recording, and you won't get materials. So you won't get state specific materials to take home with you. It's really for a re-listen. But if you decide you want to get the materials after the class, then we can just do those a la carte, and then it just puts the class back up to $475 again. So maybe we should have called it "Stick Your Toe in the Water" class. I don't know. See if I'm full of it or not. I don't know. Come check it out, man. That's a good way to do it, and the risk is small, and you guys can check it out. Something else that's also on the webpage that we have never done before is preparation. I know that this is difficult. We have a phenomenal staff that is here, and they're all over the country, and they're made up of legal professionals, paralegals, all kinds of people, and they donate their time to look at your stuff. So if you need help, okay, if there's stuff going on and you need some help drafting, we can help you do that. Okay. Just let me know what your situation is and we'll work it out. Okay. We want you to win. I don't want you to come into these courthouses and leave with your butt whipped. That's no good at all. So each registration helps us build sustainable communities and housing, and it really just help people. That's what we're trying to do. Thank you all so much. And this is kind of what we do. And those of you guys that are interested in doing this, I do require a mandatory pre-class interview. So I want to talk to you first. I want to see where you're at. Our phone number is right there, 210-605-0144. I want to see where you're at so that I can help you the best way possible. Natasha, do you have any thoughts on any of this stuff? It's kind of different, huh?
Actually, I love it. I really like the UCC where you take the new documents specific to your state. That way, nothing's missed as far as law, and that way it's getting captured because, you're new to this and you might not pick up and there's, nothing that you want to miss or, as far as putting that in there that, you would regret or something in there that is not supposed to be.
Like,
I think that's really on point and really leveling up a lot.
well, we want to, and I just want to
Yeah.
meet. I just want people to be successful. I really do. I want you guys to be successful. When you leave a class of mine, I want you to make sure that you're comfortable. Okay. So I just want to make sure that you guys get 100% out of what we're offering, and I think it'll go a long way. Now, next order of business. So those of you guys might not know this, and one of the reasons that I teach administrative claims is because I'm suing Houston County, Texas. I've been fighting with these guys for 6 years, and praise be to Yahweh. I think we're at the end of the road here. Boys to men. Anyway, so this was filed today. Can you really go after these people? This is something that the state nationals, they got nothing like this because they're not doing it. They're not. They're just they're on the hot list, and that's not a place to be. But when you stand up and you're doing the right thing, and these guys decide to weaponize something after you, oh boy, that's when their cheese comes in. So I know you guys on Facebook are not able to see this. I'm going to upload this video onto Facebook so you guys can actually see what I'm reading here. But I'm going to read it off to you guys. This is filed today, actually, November the 10th. Now, one of the things that I'm going to be teaching in this firm mailing class is that if you look right here on my document, look at that. There's a round dater there. There's a round dater stamp that says it was mailed. That means it was mailed from my jurisdiction, common law jurisdiction. This means it came over here. And who saw it? The postmaster did. And he signed my little book to prove it. So I don't need them to sign for it because the postmaster already did. And what's really cool about, and this is something I'll talk about in the class more, is that once you take it in there and this thing is stamped, that thing's delivered. That's how powerful equity is. It's delivered. It's done. Even if it's sitting in the basket, it's still there. Isn't that weird? It's true, though. Anyway, so here's the case. Basically, what happened is I filed a writ of habeas corpus because I was out on bond for 6 years for a Class A misdemeanor. And believe me, I'm sitting over here in the corner, and I'm contracting the whole time. I'm sending them fee schedules, and they're just accepting them. They're not responding to them. They're not doing anything. Okay. But what they're doing is they're acting like what I'm doing has no effect. This is a smoke game. that these guys like to play in court to try to make you forget what you're doing. This is the witchcraft and what they do. Okay. This is the spell work and what they do. So here's everybody. And let's just read it in case Houston County is watching tonight, because I'm sure they are. We got Houston County, Texas at the top. We got Judge Dwight L. Pfeiffer in his individual and official capacities. You must do both when you sue these people. Judge Sarah Tunnell Clark. We got 3 judges in this lawsuit. 3 lying judges in this lawsuit. Liars, liars, liars. And not only did they lie, but they lied under oath too. And they're caught. This is great. All right. So we got Sarah Tunnell Clark in her individual and official capacities. We know where you live. I'm just kidding. No, we don't. Anyway, county attorneys. Daphne Session. She's not listed on here, but she's listed in there. We got Christina Massey. Oh boy. She's gonna need a workout. Anyway, we're gonna give her one too. And then we got Roger Rabbit White over here. This individual little popsicle stick. He's on a list too. And then we have the county clerk. And then we have the other county clerk, Gwen Womack, and we have Terry Meadows. Both are wrapped up in all this, okay? And then the final judge of the night, Judge Clyde Black in his individual capacity. And back in 2021, I sued these guys, and they used their administrative powers somehow to get my case dismissed in 2021. They said, no, we have a prosecution against him. That can't be legal. Well, guess what I did? You see where it is? It's over here in the defendant side. Did you know you could sue a case number? Did you know that for lack of performance? And that's exactly what I did. You'll notice it's a defendant right over here. Look, see Jane and John Doe 1 through 10. Those defendants get to go with them too. Now, what did I file today? Hold on. We just need to go. This is what I filed today. Now, let's talk about this for just a second. What is a summary judgment? What is it? Does anybody know what a summary judgment is, Natasha?
Not offhand.
All right. So let's break it down, everybody. Plaintiff's motion for summary judgment, 42 U.S.C. 1983, 1985, 1986, 28 U.S.C. 2201, 2202. Jury trial demanded. All right. So a motion for summary judgment means that there is no way these guys could win at all. And so basically, when there's no more argument in your court, when there's no more argument in your discussion, when you close these guys up, and one of the things you're going to learn in my class is always file affidavits, because you have the power to testify to those hands firsthand where they don't. So what that means is and this isn't legal advice, this is just what I learned. What this means is that if you file an affidavit, that means they got to go get a counter affidavit. And guess what happens when they testify against you, against that affidavit? You know what that means? They're testifying against you as a witness. A lawyer, a judge cannot practice law from the bench. He cannot operate in 2 roles. He can only be an advocate. He can only be non-biased. The judge can only be non-biased. And we know that's not true, but that's the rules. And you just can't come out and say it. But this is how we use equity. So this is Houston County, Texas. I sued these guys. And I sued them. Now I'm suing them twice. Actually, I have 3 claims filed against them. I have and I'll just tell you real quick. So I was out on bond for 6 years. I filed an emergency writ of habeas corpus, because you can't be out on bond for 6 years on a Class A misdemeanor. You just can't. The statute of limitations is 2 years. House Bill 1043 says you can't. Yahweh says you can't. And every other book says you can't. And there's no case law that says you can sustain any kind of prosecution beyond that. There is nothing. It doesn't exist. So, caught, busted. When I'm dealing with these people, okay, a lot of times we like to think, oh, well, they're the experts. They should just know this stuff, right? If I just give them 1 through 8, then they should know 9 and 10 on their own, right? They should be able to figure that out, right? Wrong. because that's not the game you're playing. You're playing an equity game. Presentment is everything. So if you look up here in the front, a lot of people start with, now comes the living man, or something dumb like that. Come with authority. What does that say? Table of authorities. Huh. You know that it says in Psalms that David set his table, his dinner table, before his enemies. Huh. No. Listen to me, guys. He called the furniture trucks, the mover trucks, the caterers, everybody. And they would bring like all the furniture, all the chairs, and set it up like we're moving in on a hillside. Okay. And he would eat on the hillside. Hold on a second. He would set up and eat and have his victory dinner before he goes down and smokes those guys. That's what King David did. So when you show up with the table of authorities here, that's exactly what you're doing. A lot of people don't do this. A lot of people assume that if you just point the arrow, the red arrow, in the right direction, that they're going to know that your left foot's supposed to be on green. You're wrong. Equity doesn't work that way. Equity has no forgiveness. None. So when we look at these table of authorities, this means this is how I'm coming. And look at how I'm coming. All right, here's some U.S. Supreme Court cases that support everything I'm doing. Look at this. Pleadings under 1983, prosecutorial duty of justice. Can't speak today. Vindictive prosecution, suppression of exculpatory evidence, impeachment evidence, retaliatory prosecution elements, fraud on the court, void for vagueness. I can argue the case right here. I don't have to say a thing. Look, do you see how all these cases are already speaking? This is how equity works. These are things you're going to learn in my class. Okay. All right, look here, man. We got more. Arbitrary enforcement violates due process. Municipal liability. This is under Monell versus Social Services. That means when the county doesn't train their employees properly, they're liable. And it says right here under this case, Monell versus Department of Social Services, 436 U.S. 658, 1978. It says they're liable for not taking Judge Pfeiffer in the back and pulling his pants down and giving him a spanking or whatever they were supposed to do. I would have done the spanking for 500, but that's just me. Anyway, and you're going to see more here. Malicious prosecution, impartial tribunal, conflicted counsel disqualification. Why? Because the attorney general is representing this guy and he's a freaking criminal. That's a conflict of interest. How's he going to serve the public and then represent this guy when he was operating not under color of law? They lost their judicial immunity, all that stuff. Now, here in Texas, the Fifth Circuit is very prominent, okay, for case ruling. So in your area, if you're dealing in federal court, make sure you find out who the big goose is in your state, and that's where you want to quote your cases from. Because then you create this thing called res judicata. Take my class. You'll learn more about what this stuff is. All right, so you look right here. These are Fifth Circuit cases and other federal appellate cases. Look how much stuff I'm giving them. Do you know what I'm setting them up for? An appeal, a big boy appeal. And this appeal right here is going to get somebody else's spanking. Why? Because you made the presentment and they just ignored it. And then it went to the appellate court, and the appellate court says, hey, he made his case, man. He made his presentment. You just didn't like the guy. You just didn't want to rule for him. You can't do that. They get in trouble. There's a judge, Natasha, here in Bexar County. And actually, she's actually my judge. And she's had 19 cases come back on appeal. She doesn't even want to sign anything I file. She doesn't want to sign anything anybody else files either. My case is in total landlocked right now. Anyway, I'll fix that later. But anyway, let's get to the introduction here, and I'll tell you about what's happened here. So when you file a summary judgment, I'm going to show you kind of some elements of this. It means this is a no-brainer. We don't need to go to trial. We don't need to do any of this stuff. And if you are making your presentments by affidavit, by verification, in my opinion, and through my experience, they're going to have a much harder time responding, because then if they lie, they have to do it under perjury. They would be committing perjury. But see, the lawyer gets to lie all he wants to. You ever notice that the lawyer and the judge and the cop are the three people that don't get sworn in, and everybody else gets sworn in? You ever notice that? Do you know why? You know why, Natasha?
You told me once before, but I don't remember.
So they can lie to you.
Well, and get away with it.
Yeah. And you said it was okay because everybody got sworn in. You saw it. And who objected to it? I didn't know you could. You can object to anything. As long as you've got standing in law, you can object to anything. You know, the first time I walked into a ticket court in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, is the funniest thing in the world. So there, they don't have a DA that comes out and fights the tickets. So if you get a ticket, just FYI, in Rio Rancho or and actually even in Bernalillo or in Albuquerque too, if you get a ticket there, the DA doesn't show up. It's just the cop. So now the cop is the complainant. He's the prosecuting attorney. I said, Judge, this is a conflict of interest. How many roles can this guy play? I mean, and better yet, if he can play that many roles, how many roles can I play? Can we go back in the back and we can get a little script too? I want to play. Oh, don't do that. And did you see that video that I posted about the guy that walked into court and he asked the judge, I'm going to ask you one question and one question only. And he looked at him and you better answer me. Are you a Mason? Oh, the judge lost it. Get out of my courtroom. Lost it. Why? He was looking for grounds to impeach him. Smart guy. Smart guy. Smart guy. That's what I gotta say. Anyway, comes now me respectfully moves both in law and in equity for summary judgment under Federal Rule 56. So remember what I said, when you talk to these people and you're speaking with them, this is things we're going to go over in my class. You got to come to them with this. Otherwise, you're just talking. You're just talking. Did you see that video that I put up about the lady that was coming in trying to get her DWI set aside? Did you see that in front of the judge, that Houston judge? You know, that Houston judge that always stands up for people and, oh, he's such a good guy. You know, those people. You've ever seen that guy? He's like a Houston judge, and he hears cases all the time, and he has little glasses, and he looks like a nice little man, and he just looks like a friend. Oh, what was he driving while he was black? Do we have
I
any?
remember.
You know that guy?
Yeah.
Remember that video?
Yeah.
And you remember the lady coming up there, and she's, and you're thinking, oh, this judge is a nice guy, right? She comes up there and she says, well, I had this DWI back in 2019, October 2019, same year I got into this with these idiots. Anyway, and I've done all my stuff and everything's done, and I'm eligible to have it set aside. She used another term, I forget what it was, but I don't want to say it. But she said it was set aside, and you could hear her while she was talking. She was reading off her phone, and she read it, and you could tell somebody coached her and gave it to her. And then you see this smile come up across his face. And I stopped it. And I said, you know why he's smiling? Because she didn't come with this law. She didn't come with this rule. She's not coming under anything. She's just talking. And he started smiling because now he knows he doesn't have to listen to her. What an ass. Really. I mean, there's just not a better word for that. But it just, may Adonai rebuke you. That's better. I'm just saying, what a disingenuous person. What a liar. And this is why I said, when you go into court and you notice all the people that aren't taking an oath, those people are there to lie to you and to do nothing else. That's why they're not taking an oath. And you're the only one that has to tell the truth. So if that's the case, make your presentments. This is exactly what I'm doing here in summary judgment. They won't be able to answer this. This is so fatal. They won't be able to answer this. Anyway, the facts in this case demonstrate without protest or rebuttal. This is when you file a summary judgment. This means you give the other party time to answer. You give them time for discovery. Sometimes people file summary judgments after discovery, after admissions, after interrogatories, after they've figured everything out and they're like, oh, you didn't have this, you don't have this, you don't have this. Okay, well, since they responded and this is all they have, well, then this is all you have left. And if your complaint still survives, then you're good. Watch this. The facts here demonstrate without protest or rebuttal. That means let's just break this down. This is called spelling, everybody. The facts, okay? This means that the access. When you're talking about facts and legalese, you're talking about access, okay? Where the access in which it turns. Like they say the earth is on an axis, but it's not, but they say it is. Anyway. So, and then the facts of this case demonstrate. Let's just cover that up. You see where it says demon and demon state? That's a demonstrate. Same thing. Okay? Without. That means the demons didn't protest and they didn't rebut it. That's exactly what I'm telling them. This is what the demons did. Number 1, fraudulent arrest based on fabricated records. Number 2, violation of federal constitutional rights, 1st, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendments. My God. Talk about hitting every tree limb on the way down. Continued prosecution in defiance of federal habeas corpus orders. I filed a federal writ of habeas corpus, and then they filed a warrant for my arrest. Intentional retaliation for protected federal litigation. Municipal liability under Monell versus Department of Social Services. Depredative actions that were tainted by the fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine. This is a really good thing to put in there. Okay. If one part of it's bad, it's all bad. It's not survivable unless you don't say something. Number 7, no discovery is necessary because the record contains unambiguous evidence, official state records, laboratory results, federal filings, and sworn declarations. So what did I tell you in the beginning? You got to file affidavits. That's how you put it all together. And guess what they can't do? They can't do anything. The lawyers can do nothing. Why? Because now they can't lie anymore. You just stop the lawyers from lying. Because now the only response that can come back is with a counter affidavit. And that means somebody else is going to have to lie. If you're telling the truth, somebody's going to have to lie. And they will. But you better be ready to catch them. And here's where I caught them. Statement of undisputed facts. Plaintiff's identification, me. On October the 16th, 2019, I only had a valid New Mexico driver's license, U.S. passport card, and a military dependent ID. Number 2, expired Texas driver's license. Defendants processed me using an expired Texas driver's license that expired in June 15, 2009. That was 10 years before this arrest date. Huh. Wow. So there was no contraband. Yep. DPS task lab results kicked it and said, there's no illegal substances here. Come pick up your stuff. They created a drug-free zone and said that Crockett City Park is a drug-free zone when it doesn't exist. Now, how did I prove that? I filed an affidavit. And I said, I searched, and these are all the things that I searched and all the places that I searched, Maps, MapQuest, all these other things. And nobody identifies Crockett City Park on any map in the world in Crockett, Texas. They have a Davy Crockett Park, but it's not within 1,000 feet of the sheriff's office. So there's no such place called a Crockett City Park. It just sounds like a bunch of crock to me. It sounds like a crock or crap to me. I gotta tell you, just goes with the name. Number 5, federal litigation triggered. The plaintiff filed a RICO suit against these turkeys back in 2021 under this case number. But see, I saved all my stuff. After which dormant prosecution accelerated. It did. And these egomaniacs were so prideful and so dead set and thought they were just going to get me, get me, get me. They didn't even realize they left their shoes untied the whole time. Statute of limitations expired. Class A misdemeanors. The statute expired on October the 16th, 2021. We're in 2025. That's 4 years ago. Board warrant and arrest on September the 19th, just September the 19th, 2025. I was arrested again. Dumb. And then the judge that signed the warrant was a recused judge that recused herself back in 2021. Oops. See what happens when you can't lie? You can't keep your stuff together, and then you start just falling apart at the seams. These people are going to go to jail, by the way. Municipal policy failures. Houston County failed to train, supervise, or discipline employees to prevent violations of constitutional rights. These are grounds to set up a Manel claim, by the way. Not legal advice, it's just what I did. Supporting evidence. Evidence exhibits include Texas DPS laboratory results, federal filings, state records, and sworn declarations. Summary judgment standard. All right. So we want to know what a summary judgment really is. What does Rule 56 say? Pursuant to Rule 56, the court shall grant summary judgment if the moment shows that there is no genuine dispute as to any material fact and that the movement is entitled to judgment as a matter of law. As demonstrated in this case, the plaintiff must show plausible entitlement to relief under 1983. It's exactly what I did. But if you don't put it in there, these people never find the water. They don't. You got to tell them. All right. And then in ex parte versus young state actors, they can't enforce void proceedings. And when they do enforce those void proceedings, they're operating outside of their jurisdiction and they're criminals. Pure and simple. So furthermore, the pro se defendant cites the fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine and all derivative acts from void, arrests, and prosecutions are invalid. Argument. Defendants violated the plaintiff's First Amendment rights, 42 U.S.C. 1983. Federal filing of lawsuits is protected speech. Did you know that? And it says right here, Harmon versus Moore, 547 U.S. 250. Dormant prosecution accelerated immediately after I sued Judge Clark and the rest of the pumpkin gang up there. That's exactly what happened. Neves versus Barlett says retaliatory prosecution is actionable under the First Amendment. Huh. Sounds like a bunch of treasonous people to me. What do you think, Natasha?
Very much so.
And look at this. The conclusion is no reasonable jury could find otherwise. The plaintiff is entitled to summary judgment. And I'm just going to tell you, Houston County, you're so outclassed. We have an enormous legal team all over the country, actually in Washington, D.C., that's actually looking at all this stuff right now. They're reading every bit of this, and they're the ones that are helping me write the paperwork. So y'all might want to get some lawyers. You're going to need them. Fraud upon the court. You can't file fraudulent stuff on the court. The defendants, the proceedings are void in ab initio. Summary judgment is appropriate. Number one, because the defendants researched me and fabricated jurisdiction using an expired license. Texas driver's license, or this expired license they used, it wasn't in my possession. Prosecution proceeded without contraband, without probable cause. I was arrested with no probable cause. And literally, if you watch the video, which I haven't, but he says that Jerry Kalin says that, which he doesn't have a job anymore in law enforcement, period. But he says that that he testified under oath in March last year that that I violated the law and I was resisting arrest because I didn't sign his paper. And there's no law that says you have to sign the paper. He could have just wrote on there, refused to sign, and been on his way. But he didn't. He wanted to escalate it. He wanted to get physical, and they wanted to hurt me. And they did. But Psalms 91 works every time. Void for vagueness. Due process violations. The plaintiff cannot be prosecuted for a law that doesn't exist. This drug-free zone fails prosecution without fair notice because there's no notice that it is a drug-free zone. Malicious, selective, and vindictive prosecution. Number one, lack of probable cause. Statute of limitations expired. Number three, selective targeting for exercising federal litigation rights. United States versus Armstrong. Really good case. Read this. It's a very good case. Now we're going to talk about Monell liability. The county failed to train, supervise. Do you notice how we're going in a little bit of a circle here? You notice that? Yeah. It's called the circle of life, and you're supposed to do that. So you want to make sure you keep circling the camp over and over and over again. And the reason you do this is so they can't try to make it anything else other than what it is. Okay? It's very important that you do this. It's very important that when you structure your stuff, set up your stuff in the beginning, okay? And then just let it keep going in a circle over and over and over again. You'll see that's exactly what I'm doing. Anyway, the Monell liability, the county failed to supervise the policy/custom caused direct deprivation of constitutional rights. Monell versus Department of Social Services. Other federal claims. This is where it gets fun. 42 USC conspired to interfere with the rights and failure to prevent violations. See, when these public officials, when they see something wrong under 42 USC 1986, they have a duty to fix it. And if they don't fix it, they're liable. This could help you in your family law case. Read up on this stuff, you guys. All right, Brady versus Gigolo violation. Suppression of exculpatory lab results. They had it, but they didn't want to enter into the court because then the court would have to rule otherwise. Number 3, the state created danger. They publicized false charges and exposed the plaintiff to harm. McClinton versus City of Columbia. Declaratory relief. State proceedings are void. Federal stay is binding. No genuine issues exist. This is a very important element of a summary judgment, and you have to have this in here. Okay? So all facts are supported by state records, federal filings, and sworn affidavits. We've said that like 5 times, huh? Circle, 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 underline, circle, circle, underline. This is how we do this. The defendants cannot claim ignorance of a statute expiration, fabricated records, or retaliation. No reasonable jury would find for these defendants. I don't believe so. And let's not worry about damages right now. The damages are a lot. They're quite a bit. But here's the thing. I'm asking for relief. I'm asking them to enjoin the defendants from further pursuing or enforcing any other actions. Look at that. We got the stamp on there again. What is this? Oh, well, that's the proposed order. So once you make your presentment, you guys, and you do this properly, they only have one thing they can do. Lose. Lose. That's the one thing they can do. They can lose. And if you play this game right, if you play this equity game right, and you understand presentment, you understand where you are in this process, then you're able to enforce these things. Now, I have talked to some of y'all, and some of y'all are saying, well, you know, these judges just ignore what we do. I know. You know what you do? You keep trucking. And you know what you do? You just start making different variations of the same truth and keep presenting it over and over and over until you're circling their camp, until you've got 25, 15, 20, whatever motions. And then once you've got all those motions, then you can enforce it. This is when you shut it down. This is when you file your summary judgment, or when I filed my summary judgment and I shut it down. And when you read case law, this is exactly what it tells you to do. When there's no reason to argue, when there's no reason to do any of this stuff, you go here and you do this. I want to thank all of you guys for joining us tonight. I hope you guys got a lot from this. Now, those of you guys that are on Facebook, I'm going to repost the our Uber conference board where you can actually see this case and you can actually see what we're doing. You'll be able to see all the visual stuff that we've got. So check in on my Facebook page. You guys on YouTube, I'm going to upload it too. We'll have it uploaded as well. Don't worry about it. Now, those of you guys that are interested in getting in tomorrow's firm mailing class, call my office tomorrow, okay? And let's have a quick interview, and we'll get you in. And I'll have no problem getting you guys in that class. It's a wonderful class. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a lot about how to enforce your stuff. Okay. And guys, if we don't learn this stuff, they're going to continue to keep slapping us around. They're going to continue to keep taking your children. They're going to continue to take your peace. They're going to continue to gang stalk you, follow you around, do all the stupid stuff that they do until you stop it. And I'm going to show you guys how to make that stop. I'm going to show you guys how to get into their bonds. Oh, yeah, I did that too. There's claims filed against all their insurance policies right now. I have all their bonds sitting in a notebook back here right now. And I'll show you guys how this stuff is done. But I'll show you how I did it, more importantly. If you guys are interested in learning how to do this, call my office, okay? If you guys have court stuff going on and you need help, call my office, man. I don't charge. I'll help you, okay? If you guys need help, call me. Set an appointment. Really, if you really need to talk to me and you need some time, go to the website, houseofyahcommunityoutreach.com. Go to our website, set an appointment with me. Go into workshops, and then you'll see a little spot right there where you can set an appointment. Set an appointment with me, man, and we'll take 2 hours if that's what we need to do. Okay, I don't have any problem doing that. Happy to help. And I want to thank all of you guys for being here tonight. Natasha, you want to close this out?
Absolutely. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us and giving us your time and dedication for tonight. I hope everybody has a wonderful, blessed week and have a great night. Thank y'all.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm gonna close out. I've been kind of enjoying playing with the music here. It is kind of fun. But
The world, it ain't so understood.
we'll go ahead and close out tonight. I want to thank all of you guys for
So
being
I'll
here
cover my
tonight.
ears
Good night,
and my
everybody.
eyes.
Be blessed, everybody.
Good night.
And we'll see you guys next week. Good night, Natasha.
Good night.
Love that we said.